కేంద్ర ఆర్థిక మంత్రి నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ ఆదాయపు పన్ను బిల్లు 2025ను లోక్సభలో ప్రవేశపెట్టారు. విపక్షాలు ఈ బిల్లును వ్యతిరేకించిన సభ మాత్రం దీనిని ప్రవేశపెట్టేందుకు ఆమోదం తెలిపింది. ముసాయిదా బిల్లును సెలెక్ట్ కమిటీకి పంపాల్సిందిగా స్పీకర్ను నిర్మలా కోరారు. పాత చట్టం కంటే కొత్త దానిలో ఎక్కువ సెక్షన్లు ఉన్నాయని చెప్పడం సరికాదని, నిజానికి తాము 819 సెక్షన్లను 536కి తగ్గించామని స్పష్టం చేశారు.
So it's very difficult to reasonably plan up for a budget, but despite that we have tried keeping the assessments as close as possible to what can develop, keeping India's interest topmost. So this immense uncertainty is still playing out, and many Indian imports which are very critical for our economy to grow are also going to be left with uncertainty. So we are trying to make sure that the budget somewhat at least foresees all these and is ready for such eventualities. But even as we say about these things, the budget has very clearly identified the difficulties which are before us, because all these years, possibly even decades, we've been talking about globalization. Now we are facing a situation of fragmentation of the world. Whilst the post-COVID time has made states to borrow, and not just Indian states but countries to borrow, to meet with the specific difficulties that they have to face, and also handhold people and at the same time give growth impetus, has led to a situation where countries are borrowing and rising debt is a problem. Whereas fiscal prudence has always been the matter which gets advocated. People tell that economies will have to be managed more fiscally prudent ways. So globalization versus fragmentation, which is a reality, fiscal prudence versus growing global debt, which is a reality, and everybody wants to have free market situation, but you have aggressive tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. So you're facing a world where a lot of talk goes on about keep the markets free, but no one country wants to have free market when it comes to their interest. Has something to bring in terms of benefits for these four large groups. Sir, I want to take a minute to put it before this august house that when we are talking about capital expenditure, because I've heard quite a few members speaking about how capital expenditure is probably coming down, the shift is now from moving away from capital expenditure to boosting consumption. I just want to highlight the thought about, or the idea of, effective capital expenditure. What it does include is core capital outlays in the union budget, and also the grants and aid for creation of capital assets to the states. So, though the grants and aid for creation of capital assets is accounted as revenue expenditure in the books of the union government, yet they go to the states to create capital assets, and therefore they are also effectively, eventually, only capital expenditure. So in the budget in the financial year 25-26, which is before us, the effective capital expenditure is projected at 15.48 lakh crore as against 13.18 lakh crore in the RE of 24-25. So there is just no reduction in capital expenditure.